Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Retrospective podcast. I'm your host, Earnest EJ Christian. We're doing yet another watch along, even though we're coming off actually literally what many believe is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I tend to disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. And of course, we're joined here as I get the screen off. Here's the overlay. Goodbye. And joined here, of course, once again, by 2/3 of the Mindless Wrestling podcast. That is, of course, DJ Minter, and that is, of course, Rob Bonnette, a.k.a. Rob the Genius, Mr. Math himself. What's up, buddy? What's up, guys? Oh, DJ, we can't hear you. DJ, can't hear you. Oh wait. No. This is my bad. I apologize. That's my bad. I didn't unmute you guys.
You muted me, man.
I fucked up. I apologize.
You
to the corner.
this one up.
I fucked this one up. Dude, brother, I'm so sorry, man.
Funny thing is, sometimes I guest host on another podcast, and
yes.
While somebody else is talking, I'll mute. That way background noise doesn't come over.
Right.
How many fucking times I forget to unmute myself? So It's usually my fault. I'm glad it's someone else's fault this time.
Yeah. I fucked up. Guilty. Again, DJ Minter, Rob Bonnette, a.k.a. Rob the Genius. Fellas, how you doing?
Good,
man. Still coming down from the WrestleMania 40 weekend.
Yeah, and you know what? We're doing a watch along of because we remember last year we did all 1988 sign up main events. Well, we'll start 1989. You know, it is actually technically 35 years since, but we'll definitely talk WrestleMania 40 as we get it leading to this thing. Because one of the things about watch alongs I love is that it creates a space to open conversation about anything. And
yeah.
WrestleMania 40 is still fresh on our minds, of course. Before we get started, though, we are watching the January 7th, 1989 edition of the Sunday Main Event, or as you say, Season 5 of the Sunday Main Event. This event, of course, took actually this event actually took place a month before. It was taped on December 7th, 1988, from the Tampa, Florida, at the USF Sundome. And of course, aired a month later. Attendance of the show was 9,176. You guys, I always ask this question. I always ask this every time we do a watch along. Any of my guests, you guys included. 1989, January. What the hell are you guys doing?
Probably.
So I was.
God, I don't know. I would have been 16, so I don't even know.
Jesus, you're old.
Fuck off.
I said it because I was turning 9 this year. But I was watching in real time, though.
Yeah, no, I was too. I was watching.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, yeah, I was, okay, so January 89, I was 14, I wasn't 15 yet. And yeah, I was deep into, in the middle of everything here.
Yeah, I was almost 16, and I was still into it. We're still about 3 years out from me being too cool for school and kind of dipping out on WWE for a little bit.
But isn't typically 16 years old too cool for school era? Was the product really that good that you can just go away?
It was that good. I watched it, but I didn't let a whole lot of people know that I watched it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay. Well, right now we're in the middle of the Mega Powers. Friendship obviously is a little bit of fracture at this point now. But we do have we're going to watch 5 matches here in the meantime. I bring this up real quick. Sorry about that, guys. We have 5 matches here, of course. We got a hair versus hair match between Bruce Beefcake and Ron Bass. That was a hot feud back then.
That was a hot feud.
Yeah. We got Hulk Hogan with Miss Elizabeth in the corner against Akeem with both the Big Boss Man and my favorite manager of all time, Slick. We have an IC title match, a rematch from SummerSlam 88 between the Ultimate Warrior and the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart. We got Tito Santana against the Red Rooster by Bobby Heenan in the corner. And then, of course, to close it out with Mr. Perfect, who's pretty much new to the company at this point, against Coco Beware. So, again, we'll keep it short and sweet here. This is going to be Season 5, Episode 1 of Sunday's Main Event. But you guys need to pause before we get started. Do so at this point. Go ahead, DJ. Okay.
I had the wrong one.
You had the wrong main event?
I had the wrong one. I was skipping ahead to March.
Oh,
it was not that one.
You want to go to Mega Powers? You want to go past Mega Powers exploding? Well, before that.
No. We're going to start here. This is your show.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there soon though on that event. We're 2 away from that actually. So we got the main event after that, and then a Sunday main event after that. So the actual breakout of Mega Powers, and then of course the who does Liz choose, Macho or Hogan? What's corner? But again, season 5, episode 1, Sunday main event. You guys need to pause it at this point. If you otherwise ready to go because this party started, fellas, ready to go?
Yeah, let's
Ready.
do it.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and scene. Warrior, the new IC champion.
Yak.
Oh, that's steroids. Before I get into the 40, I have to, and Rob, you might know this already. I think I've come to terms with Ultimate Warrior. And what I mean by that is this. Because I told you guys many times over, I hated him back then as a child. I hate him as an adult. I've never been a Warrior fan whatsoever.
Okay.
But I've come to terms with him in the sense of this. For the character he was doing, he did it really to perfection in a lot of ways. Like the character that he was portraying, that's what it asked for. So in the sense of what he was doing with that character, it was a 10. He's supposed to be crazy and nutty and all that stuff. But not everybody can pull off crazy and nutty, even though that's what the character, needs to be presented as. And he did it, to be honest with you. So in a sense, I've come to terms with who he was as a performer. Look, was he a great in-ring guy? No. But again, I think maybe us three talking about this actually on a recent podcast, that one thing he can say that not a lot of guys has, he has 2 5-star WrestleMania matches back-to-back years.
Yeah. I mean, it took incredible workers to drag it out of him in Hogan and Savage.
Which again makes the Hogan argument for it was last week's conversation we had on the top 50 Bleach Report bullshit list.
Yes.
Which only proves that Hogan should be higher number 10.
Yes.
Because he was one of 2 people who pulled that kind of match out of the Ultimate Warrior. And
him and Savage.
And the only other person I think who came close was Rude.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, him and Rick Rude always worked well together.
So technically, you can say 3 Manias in a row. He had some quality matches.
Yes.
Technically. 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. And
as I showing the clip now of Ultimate Warrior and Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
Here, some SummerSlam. It's funny, Honky Tonk Man, he had one of the greatest years in history of wrestling as IC champion. And the minute he lost that title, he was done.
Yeah.
Done.
Cooked.
Over. Yeah. Finished. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like that, the closest he came to anything was Rhythm and Blues, and I think they were tag champions.
That went
weren't they?
I don't think they weren't, actually, no.
Did they not hold the tag championship?
No, I don't think so. So Demolition held when they got together. Demolition was the champions. It was Colossal Connection. It was Brainbusters, Demolition, Colossal Connection, Demolition, Heart Foundation, Nasty Boys. By then, Honky's gone out of the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
For some reason, I thought they were tag champs.
No. And it sucks because like Honky Tonk Man's character is amazing. That 87 year into 88 was phenomenal. So
well, and everybody remembers it.
Yeah.
By the way, Rob, little side note here. We're in watching this, we are in literally the final days of the Reagan administration here, because Bush gets inaugurated 13 days later.
Oh wow. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. His election, it was this past election year. So anyway, obviously we're talking retro wrestling here, but we can't be, when we remiss, we gotta talk about WrestleMania 40. We just passed that in real time 2 days ago. A lot of folks calling it the best WrestleMania of all time. I disagree with that. It's a little more, let it settle a little bit. It certainly was a top 10-ish one. I'll say that. I'm confident in saying that. But WrestleMania 40, your thoughts out 2 days after. What do you think? DJ, go first.
I would probably, in the early goings, I'd say this is at least a top 10 for me. I had a lot of fun. There's really only 2 matches that I really think didn't live up to my expectation. Everything else was good, if not great. I've got a lot of thoughts about that.
I feel like I know what the matches are. Is it the Usos match?
One of them was the Usos match, and the other one was the 6-man tag Philly Street fight.
If you had told me that match would have been the worst match of the entire weekend, I would have called you a liar. And yet it was, in my opinion.
Absolutely. The Usos was such a letdown.
And never got
both of those guys are much better than that.
Yeah, they never got a first gear. And honestly, I think Jimmy's a problem.
I was
I
going
think
to say that. I think
Yeah,
Jimmy's a tag team wrestler.
thank you.
yeah.
Jay,
Tina
Jay,
and I.
can, Jay can go on
Go
his
ahead,
own.
Rob.
He can work, but Jimmy's a tag team wrestler.
Yeah. My girlfriend and I were talking about it, and she flat out asked me, she's like, which one of these two do you like better? I said, Jay, without hesitation. She's like, so you don't like Jimmy? I'm like, it's not that I don't like Jimmy. Jay is the star.
Right. And you don't want it to be a situation where, like, okay, let's get back together again because this to save Jimmy. I think it's not fair to Jay. If Jay has aspirations to be a solo star, you got to find something. You need to find other ways for Jimmy to work. And the only other thing you can do is pair him up with Solo. Maybe that's about it.
Team Jimmy up with Angelo Dawkins.
Why?
Oh, jeez. Rob, come on, man.
Also, no, I mean,
that's wrong, brother.
No, team them up, and then you can free Montez to be a singles wrestler.
Oh, there you got that. Yeah.
No, that's what
I've been asking that for years now. I've been asking that for years. But Montez being a singles wrestler.
I mean, the only thing I can think is that he doesn't want to leave Dawkins hanging. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Or, he's just not pushy enough to.
There may not be a spot for him either, man. The singles field is so crowded right now.
And that's the other. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, because.
Real quick, this is our DJ's favorite spot here. The censored.
The
bass and DJ's favorite.
Yeah. And this was like crazy because this was on like a normal Saturday morning, and then they put the X up over it, but they don't like actually censor the bloody.
Exactly,
forehead.
so stupid. It's 80s graphics, buddy. 80s graphics.
Yes.
It wasn't in Vince's budget to get the extra line across.
Yeah, we couldn't put a bar above the forehead or something.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob, about Usos one time.
It's just Jimmy's a tag team wrestler.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is. I mean, or he's like he's Neidhart, he's Stevie Ray, whichever one. Now I wouldn't call him Jannetty because he actually has some personality. Marty Jannetty didn't really have any personality, but I say he's like Stevie Ray or Neidhart. Stevie Ray and Neidhart both had personality. They were tag team wrestlers.
Right, correct.
And the other guy on the team was the clear singles wrestler.
Yeah.
And I would throw Dawkins in that category also. I mean, Dawkins has some personality, but he's a tag team guy, and so I think that's
Dawkins and Jimmy can be the new high energy.
Oh man,
that's a new name. That's a new name. High energy.
And it feels kind of bad saying that about Jim, but that's just what it is. Like, I mean, Robert Gibson's a tag team wrestler, right? I mean,
yeah.
Dennis Conjure's a tag team wrestler. Bobby did have a little singles run. Right. I heard Bass choking out Beefcake.
Yeah. And Joey Morello won't call a DQ here, apparently. Now, Rob, you were at night 2, obviously.
Yeah.
You 10 night 2. Night 2 easily better than night 1. I gave night 2 a 9.5 out of 10. And I gave night 1 a 7 out of 10. The only reason I didn't give 10 out of 10 for night 2 was because I didn't get my prediction on Austin coming out. And I had the Taker spot. I had Austin that spot.
Because
everybody did, but I have some thoughts about that.
Go ahead.
If you think about the main event, I know we're skipping ahead. The story behind the main event was all the ghosts of Roman's past coming back to haunt him. Yeah. Austin has no place in that story.
Yeah.
It would have been a cool pop the fans moment, but he had no place in that story.
The reason I said that was because if Rock wasn't involved, that's where the Austin Rock thing comes into play. That's the reason I
but this was Roman and Cody's story. Rock was a part of it, but this was Roman and Cody's story to tell, and Austin had no part in that.
Clearly. And that spot also with the chair where he hits Seth, he gets revenge on Seth for 12. Again, long-term storytelling. Come on. Brilliant writing. Again, which may have cost him the match.
It did, because he couldn't get over that, and that one little hesitation gave Cody enough time to rally.
So, which match? Go ahead.
It's to me, you can't call something. You need to wait to call something great as ever and see how it
how you feel about it when you're not in the middle of all the, of all the energy and all of that. I mean,
I agree. It's too fresh.
Yeah. Like I'm giving you an example, like with the Avengers movies, so after when Endgame came out, everybody was so fired up about the big fight day, and everybody came through all the portals and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you sit back, like later, Infinity War was a far superior movie,
Infinity War was a better movie. Yep.
hands down. It was a better movie, start to finish.
That Endgame?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I mean, Endgame.
I would say so too. Yeah.
I mean, because Infinity War was excellent from start to finish. The entire movie was, I mean, there was no drag through, the whole however long it was. Whereas, I mean, Endgame, it dragged in the middle, and there were a lot of drag points, and but so when it first came out, everybody was so hyped up about the big portals scene when it first came out, that people were more into that. But now, like I watch Infinity War now, I'll just sit down and watch the thing all the way through. Like with Endgame, a lot of times I watch the beginning and then I'll skip the middle, and then
you one of those?
I mean, because it's just to me, like
it's a movie, Rob. You can't do that. It's a movie. This is not wrestling. Oh my God, I'm gonna skip the Jimmy and Jake match every time I watch WrestleMania 40 in the years to come. You can't do that in the movie.
And also, look. I don't want to watch my girl Scarlett Johansson get killed. Okay.
Oh, okay. Forgive it. Oh, you know what? Forgiven.
I don't.
Forgiven.
We'll give him a pass on that.
Yeah, we're gonna pass on that one.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. You guys weren't surprised at the result, though, right? With Cody and Roman, right? Y'all had Roman.
Not at all. I know we all said differently on our podcast. Like I think we all equally predicted that we built a timeline where Roman could walk out the victor, and we went with that as our predictions. But I think in the back of our heads, we all knew what was coming.
The only thing that kept me like saying maybe Roman win this match is the whole priority of Hogan breaking the Hogan record.
But
which, of course, to get there, you have to hit Duke and I and you, Rob, we spoke about it on the podcast, and Duke kept saying that's not a priority. Well, clearly he was right about that because
we did that.
Right, correct. To your point,
we created it. We made that a thing. Like
right.
They never I mean, they mentioned where Roman ranked as far as length of title reign, but they never made an issue out of him trying to pass Hulk Hogan, right? They never said that on TV. They never made that into a thing. We made that into a thing.
Right.
And
but they start acknowledging it now, and they're like, okay, well, maybe they do prioritize this thing. And then with Hogan's recent history, WWE will finding a way to make him less relevant.
But that's the other thing. They're doing business with him again now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And because of that, I was torn though, because I was rooting for Roman, but at the same time, I'm a Hogan mark, dude, guys. I don't give a shit about it says.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm a Hogan mark, and I'm glad the Hogan record still stays.
And I think I said on our top 50 that if there's no Hogan, we're not doing what we're doing right now.
Correct.
And you don't just rewrite that. I mean, this isn't, like I said, he said some nasty shit. And a lot of people, rightfully so, were offended, were hurt, and betrayed. I get that. But this isn't a Benoit situation where you absolutely excommunicate the guy. It's not even a Vince McMahon situation where you excommunicate the guy.
And I have thoughts on that because I think people are trying to absolve themselves of their own sins with this whole Vince thing.
Right.
Look, I mean, Vince, don't mention him on TV ever again.
Can't do it.
Don't do that. But we should not sit here and pretend like Vince McMahon never existed either.
But there's no way to not mention. There's no reason to mention him on TV anyway. He's not part of. He hasn't been part of creative in years.
Right. So I mean, I'm just saying, if you want, I understand. Like, look, let him fade away. All right. But there's a difference between letting somebody fade away and then, acting like, because I mean, look, a lot of the people in our kind of fan group here, we've been watching Vince McMahon's wrestling show for 20 years, 30 years. We've given Vince McMahon all this money out of our pocket. And it's not like we didn't know he was a jerk and a creep.
Yeah, like stop.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
We were not innocent here, okay? We were not,
Right.
and we were not naive about, like, no, we didn't know the depth to which was doing things, but we all knew the guy was a creep, and we all knew the guy was the, shark businessman type of dude. Like, we all knew that. Okay, if you had and we didn't have and most people in like the IWC didn't have an issue with it until he started booking the show ways they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's when they
And-
really started to take issue with Vince McMahon, when he started booking stuff they didn't like. And now, and then of course and all this stuff that came out, obviously he's right. They should get him the hell out of there. He should never come back. And he should possibly go to jail. Right. That is all true. But I mean, way too many of us are out here trying to, again, wash our hands of this as if we didn't pay Vince McMahon money every month for
Exactly.
pay-per-views
To
and all
reference
that.
to reference the Avengers, the first one, we've all got red in our ledger.
Yeah. So,
And
so it's like, hey guys, you know what? And now look, I know why Triple H is saying new era and all this stuff, because they are literally trying to, they're trying to get Vince McMahon's name out of headlines involving the company.
Well, that's well, Rob, to your point, that's the biggest takeaway of the weekend for me, outside of the obvious stuff on the that we see, with the Roman thing and Cody new title, is that they made it quite clear that if it wasn't clear before, we have pivoted off the Vince McMahon. Like, to me, the Vince McMahon era officially ended this weekend. It officially ended this weekend. They made it clear.
it ended the minute Stephanie McMahon showed up at night 2.
Right. Paul Levesque. They kept saying Paul Levesque. They kept saying Paul Levesque.
Okay,
and look, go ahead, Rob. What's that?
Here's why. See, the problem with that. Okay.
Was what?
Well, no. Okay, for me, because like this past year and a half or so, there's been this thing where, whenever one of the shows was that, oh, Vince was interfering, right? And it's like, okay, bro, Hunter, if Vince is interfering, then like you can't just pull that out your ass every time, a show is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If Vince is interfering, then he's always interfering. And so that means that's the good and the bad, right? You can't. And well, now look, this year he's been completely gone.
No, not only that, I don't think it's been. I honestly believe that it's been Triple H's show for 2 years.
And what the thing is,
very little Vince.
No, I judge him when he took over in August of 2022.
Yep.
As far as grading Triple H,
mm-hmm.
That's when it starts. So, you don't get a pass for whatever it is, whatever you did that I didn't like during those first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That goes in your report card.
Why would his haircut by Ron Bass? Oh my God! Oof.
I was surprised they went this far with it on this show. We're sitting there watching him get his head shaved. I was shocked at the time.
Of all the haircuts Beefcake gave out through the years, this was the most thorough one I think I've ever seen him do.
Oh yeah, because it is, because we used to laugh at haircutting in WWE, because back in the NWA they would shave you bald.
Right, he snipped. He got a little snip of Jimmy Hart and a couple of guys here and there, but to really, really like take a one and throw that thing on his head, I mean, this is it. He's night. Look at this dude, night.
Yeah, and because see, this is one reason I have not been a fan of the hair cutting angles they've done in more recent years.
I haven't seen in a while actually.
The last one they did was Becky and Bianca.
And that shit was whack. Like, I'm sorry. She cut a few strands of her hair.
What did I forget?
And it was probably extensions at that.
Right.
It wasn't even like her real hair, it was hair weave. And then look, all the girls all got weaves, okay?
Of course.
All of them do, right? All the girls that have long hair on the show have got hair extensions, okay? They all do. So I'm not saying that as a diss, but so she cut some of the extensions, and then within a few days later at WrestleMania, it was all back.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And so, I grew up on Jimmy Valiant and Paul Jones. You shaved the guy bald. and they walked around bald for a few weeks afterward selling it.
Look at how sweaty Beefcake is.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Look,
no,
that's
no, DJ, that's baby oil.
Oh, yeah.
look, man,
Baby oil.
look, that's those well,
Get out.
and so
Oh, now you're mad. Now he's running to chase him.
yeah,
Now he's mad.
see, now, shave him bald, man. And,
yeah.
And again, and they got, and they just have to walk around bald for a few weeks.
Let me ask you guys this, because I've been saying, look, I'm happy for Cody. I'm glad. I'm happy you won. I'm happy for him. But now, to me, this is where the challenge begins with Cody Rhodes. It's easy to chase. I always say to folks, chase mode for a title, easy to book. Easy to book. Oh, it's clear as day. To me, the real challenge now is, okay, you got here now. Now you're here. Now this is your company now going forward. How do you book them? That's the question now. Can you sustain this going forward?
No, I think no. I think he is legitimately, his popularity is legitimate. This is not.
No, I agree.
Like this is not like okay, like with Kofi, right? Kofi was an example of somebody. Everybody was in on the chase, but then after he had it, it was. I mean, some of us were still there for the obvious reason, right?
If you're real, keep it real, right? Keep it real.
Yeah. But a lot of people were fine. We're done with it after he won, right? This is not that. So, and look, I don't think people are going to turn on him. I think, no, because look, I mean, there's too much build up here.
The only comparison you can make to him, and I don't think he'll flame out either. I think they'll do a good job booking him going forward. The only example you have a guy that was on level with the top guy, like Roman being the top guy and no coach on level in a sense, was the Hogan Warrior thing. When Warrior won a title in 1990, he was on level with Hulk Hogan, if not slightly higher, because Warrior was red hot those 2 years. Yeah. And then that's why we always look back at that as this one, because as hot as he was when he won a title, he flamed out pretty quick after that.
Well, part of it was because they immediately put him right back in a feud with Rick Rude. And your first thought is, we've seen this. He conquered Rick Rude and moved on. Why are we back here? It should have been Mr. Perfect.
So was it bad booking? Was it bad booking, do you think?
It was absolutely bad booking.
Well, because I think what it was he and Rude worked well together. And, Warrior stinks. He stunk as an in-ring guy. So, all right, we got to put him with somebody who he worked well with,
who can make him look good.
Yeah, and I think that's my guess is that was the thinking behind it. But I even remember back then when they had Rude, when they once even me and my friends told me they were putting him with Rude, we were like, okay, they just did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that didn't help. And then after that, it was just like, again, he wasn't. His weaknesses as a overall performer got exposed really quickly, and
it's different when you're the tippy top guy. It gets exposed a lot faster.
Yeah.
Again, understand. Again, something like that only accentuates why Hogan should be in the top 3, not number 10, motherfuckers.
Right, but
I don't know who voted on that list, but I think if you listen to that episode, you know how we all feel about that situation.
Right. And then
my boy Savage, look at that.
Yeah, but then we're it's just but Cody is obviously a far superior in-ring worker and overall performance.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think when you look at him, I use the comparison because of the comparison to the guy you toppled over. But Cody, unlike Warrior, has the pedigree, the desire to get better. He has the respect of the locker room and the people on top of the company. And go ahead.
Oh, and then also look, they have the right foil for him in The Rock. The Rock is there as the enemy. So
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because I predicted like this after the night after WrestleMania. I go, I'm calling it now. SummerSlam this year, Rock and Cody.
Yes.
That story's been written, because look at what happened Saturday. Who pinned who? Rock pinned Cody. Yeah. You tell that story now.
Yeah. And so I think That's why I don't think it's going to be an issue. Because it's not going to be an issue.
I love Akeem. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just I couldn't even. As much we probably should have gotten mad about Akeem the African Dream, but we didn't, and I didn't because it was so absurd that.
And I think what makes it work is that he just doesn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
He's clowning this up. He knows it's ridiculous.
Right.
And
right. And
watch him.
Like Saba Simba is highly offensive.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. This was because they tried to take that seriously.
Right.
This Akeem is like, this is the dumbest shit ever, so I'm going to make it the dumbest shit ever.
Right.
Hogan no selling Slick.
Again,
poor Slick.
Okay, here's Hogan, racist Hogan. Okay.
And
watch Akeem here. Watch him.
His cells were hilarious.
And look, Chuck, this was this was nowhere near as bad as the half black Roddy Piper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That somebody should have been taken outside and put down like a horse for coming up with that. Okay.
Yeah. Is
that match deleted from the?
I think from what I've heard, it is.
No, because I'm doing a WrestleMania marathon, watching all of them in order. Finally, start to finish, because there's a bunch I haven't ever watched from start to finish, and his match with Matthews Brown is not there. I remember seeing it at 6.
So I think
they struck that from the record.
Yeah, when they switched everything over to Peacock, they scrubbed a lot of stuff.
I wish they didn't do that. To be honest with you, I understand why, but I'm use that as a learning tool.
To me,
I remember the match being rather fun.
Yeah, it was crazy as shit.
It was a fun, I hate your face match.
Yeah.
But I understand every reason why they would want to distance themselves.
Like, that's one of those things where you can't explain that to anybody. If you're watching that and somebody comes in the room and they're like, what the hell is this? You got nothing. You got nothing.
Yeah, there's no explanation.
Do you know my biggest clue actually of when I knew Roman was going to lose? Was Saturday night when Gunther lost.
Yeah.
That was my clue. That was the biggest clue. It's like, okay, Roman's losing on Saturday. Why? What? My wife's like, why Gunther? Because you got to elevate guys. If Cody's going to be the champion, you got to elevate guys and create foils. And I keep saying this because history always repeats itself. Gunther losing, he still won. Because him losing the title means he's being elevated to the main event roster, the main event tier now. And I keep referencing Randy Savage because WrestleMania 3, Macho Man IC champion, held the belt for over a year, and then loses Steamboat. And while Steamboat won the belt, who was the real winner in that whole feud in the end? It was Savage. Savage got elevated from mid-Carter to main event, and a year later was the title. I'm not saying he's going to win the title anytime soon, but I'm already envisioning, barring something unforeseen, next year's Mania, Cody and Gunther might be a thing.
Oh, yeah, I can totally see Gunther being the main event against Cody next year.
Well, the same thing kind of happened with Lex Luger. He lost the U.S. title to Dusty Rhodes at Starrcade '87.
Right.
And then the next year is when he started going with Rick.
Hogan can't dance for the record. He cannot dance.
Well, yeah, I mean. But
one thing I'll say about this WrestleMania, and more specifically the main event, because I watched it by myself. My girlfriend most casually of the casuals watches this. She'll lean over my shoulder. She'll ask what happened. She'll ask the results of shows. I explained to her kind of what happened in the main event. We sat down again last night and watched it. And she enjoyed it so much that she went and watched WrestleMania 7 in its entirety right after. 7? 7. And here's why. Because The Undertaker closed out that segment in that match, and WWE had on the Peacock, they had The Undertaker, like a whole list of Undertaker, the streak. It was basically the streak. And when she clicked on it, she thought it was just going to be all the streak matches, but it ended up being all the WrestleManias in their entirety. So she just clicked on 7 and watched the whole thing all the way through. I think she's got like one match left.
I just watched 7 recently, like 2 days ago. So that's why
Yeah.
it's funny you said that. By the way, you see Savage in the background. Savage is in the locker room letting Hogan take a beating. This is one of the seeds, seeds of dissension. Like, let the Hogan get his beat down. Don't come out yet.
Oh, it looks like he's getting hurt out there. Let me watch a little longer and see what happens. Yeah. We're literally a month away from them breaking up. So
yeah,
which we'll do a watch on that next. And there's Liz going to the locker room trying to get Macho. She's so gorgeous. Oh my God. Ooh.
Yeah.
She had my heart at 9 years old. To damn sure.
For Akeem, it was all over for Akeem as soon as John Tenta showed up.
Yep.
Because John Tenta was the big man Vince wanted.
Tenta was actually really talented, though. Really talented.
John Tenta was an amazingly underrated big man.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, folks, that's Earthquake. People don't know on the podcast, that's Earthquake. But yeah, I think what we had on with Gunther being elevated now, I believe he's going to be elevated now. I believe SummerSlam is going to be, not SummerSlam, sorry, WrestleMania next year. Gunther Cody is very likely. And I think you wait to make the Cody Gunther thing happen. Exhaust the rest of his bloodline thing. You have The Rock now. Rock will come back. We saw Raw last night. I'll be back. He's coming for SummerSlam. I know he has commitments coming up, but he doesn't need to be there for. He only needs to be there for a couple Raw / SmackDowns leading up to the match, the SummerSlam match itself, and he can go away. And for the record, Cody will win that match. So the record, Cody will win. We'll get his comeback on that.
So, do you see Gunther winning the Royal Rumble or next year's
Elimination
Chamber?
Yes,
or next year's Elimination Chamber?
No. He'll win the Rumble. You
think he wins the Rumble?
So he almost won it last year, 2023.
Right.
He made it almost close to the end, right? Was it Final Four this year too also?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. So he's destined to win it this year. The next one.
Okay.
Yeah. They've long-term storytelling that whole thing also too. And this Hulk with his little Akeem mocking.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I have good win the Rumble next year. What about Roman moving forward? Like, he's obviously gonna take a break. That's the assumption. He's taking a break.
Well,
it looks like it won't be as long a break as people. Now, this is another thing that people talk themselves into, because there were people. Again, there were people saying on Twitter or whatever that he's probably going to be gone for a long time, and then some people even saying this might be it for him, right? And that man has not said anything to indicate that those are his intentions. Like people just kind of created that on their own, right? And so he obviously is going to take some time off to be gone from, because you don't come back the next week anyway after that. Like you're supposed to go away for at least.
Yeah, you got to sell that.
I say he comes back not this coming Friday, but next week Friday, because he's recovering from the loss. He needs 2 weeks to cool off. He'll come next Friday on SmackDown, and he'll give a speech, and then he goes away stage left for how long. Again, much like I said, Gunther having a Savage moment, I think Roman had his Hogan moment actually on Sunday.
Well, because okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
my point is that it more so is this. What I'm saying is, remember when Hogan lost Mania 6 to Warrior?
Yeah.
What was the tag after that? The Immortal Hulk Hogan. We just got the Immortal Roman Reigns after this weekend.
Maybe, and but I think he's going to be gone a little bit long because, you need to be gone for a little while to sell the loss. And
to be devastated.
So I think he's going to be gone at least maybe like a month or two.
Longer, not even a month or two. Longer. Going to the summer.
Well, I don't know because
Liz,
because
now he comes out. Sorry, now Savage comes out.
Yeah. So because you have to kind of get into the weeds of, because there are people who see who's advertised for what shows or whatever, and that could change it. But it wouldn't. I think he might come back a little bit earlier.
Right.
Because now that he's not going to be on pay-per-views defending the title, He can, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's going to be gone until like, because some people talk like he's going to be gone for like a long time, long time.
Real quick, and now Savage is pissed off. He sees Liz and Hogan and Luster.
Yeah.
This is real quick. We'll get back to that in a second. What you're saying, Rob? But this is again, we're talking about lost storytelling with Roman and the bloodline. This right here, playing more and more seeds. You know, and then you have Royal Rumble, I think 2 weeks later after this match. And Hogan eliminates Savage accidentally, quote unquote, with Brandon Brown. Savage gets pissed off. They make up, kiss and make up. And then, but again, this is like, to me, people talk about the greatest storylines of all time. To me, the bloodline and this one is the two greatest of all time, because they allowed it to simmer, allowed it to settle. It took years. This one took a year and a half, of course. It took almost 2 years. And you know, obviously, bloodline went 4 years with the Roman reign. You know, all that. But yeah, this is perfection storytelling here. All right, Rob, back to you after Roman.
So I think, he's going to be gone, and then, because he posted a video on both on Instagram and Twitter today.
I saw that.
So that, to me, that's your sign that he's not going to be gone that long. And now, and so now I guess looking at his title reign, like the one thing that he did more than any other, I think anybody who's been a WWE champion, was, you look at the whole list of guys who got legitimately elevated. Not like, the word elevated gets way overused. Some people, like, if it's somebody they like, they say that the person was elevating people just by having matches with them. But guys moved up the card.
Jay did.
I mean, or guys moved back up the card who had been up there and had dropped back down, like Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens, Jay, Sammy, Solo literally got pulled up from NXT to be part of this.
Yeah, correct.
LA Knight got a main event. Logan Paul got a main event, and legitimized him to the point where I think that match just would legitimize him to the point where they felt good putting the U.S. title on him. Cesaro got a pay-per-view main event working with Roman Reigns, and
great match too, by the way.
Yeah, and Cesaro didn't never sniff no pay-per-view main event ever. Okay. Other than that, Finn Balor hadn't been in the main event for a while, and he got one with Roman Reigns. Big E, his first main event as a singles wrestler with Roman Reigns. I mean, Matt Riddle got a title shot on TV. That was Roman's last defense on television, was against Matt Riddle. And Riddle main evented like a pay-per-view later on that year after that. Okay. So look at all of these guys who, by being a part of this, either moved up the card or they moved back up the card, or they legitimized themselves to the point where they're staying relevant after they're being done with him. And the only other world champion in my memory who did something like that was Ric Flair in the NWA, because like Sting and Luger and Nikita Koloff, and then guys like tag team wrestler guys like Ricky Morton and Rick defended against both the Road Warriors, and nobody. Yeah. And those were two guys who weren't known for being great in-ring workers or whatever, and he had great matches with both of them. Right, and so Rick made a bunch of guys, while he was world champion, guys, and Sting has been eating off of that Clash of the Champions match with Ric Flair for 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Or for the whole rest of his career, he was eating off of that match. Okay.
Oh, Burger King, we do it. You do it.
Yeah.
That's some old school shit.
For the kids, man, because they don't know the old slogans.
So yeah, I mean, and to me, that's, if you want to look like the two biggest things with Roman's title was all those guys who got elevated, and then also that he turned the company around.
Yeah,
He turned the business of the company around because they'd been declining for a couple of years. Then COVID happened and everything went to shit.
It's funny too, Rob, because I came back to watching WWE after 17 years in 2019, right after WrestleMania 35, and the talk was on fans watching at times that this is all mid. This is just like stale. I mean, I was okay with it at the time because I didn't know what was going on. I was still learning who's who and this and that, and but everybody complaining about was this mid. And at the time, Roman was, I won't say a mid Carter, but Roman was being treated like as just one of.
Well, because he was getting his win back.
Right. He got cleared for leukemia.
Yeah.
Kofi was champion on one side. Seth was champion on the other side. You got Brock was still on the fringes, whatnot, and Roman was in a feud with Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And he wasn't treated as a main event guy at the time. It wasn't until after COVID that okay.
Well, they had to shift gears with Roman. I've been with Roman since day one. I saw the vision, but I didn't particularly care for what they were doing with him for a period of time because he never broke away from the Shield. Like when the Shield split up, Seth Rollins reinvented himself. Dean Ambrose reinvented himself. Roman still came out with the tactical vest.
The same
there
thing.
Was very little evolution of character from Roman Reigns. Even though he had all the tools. And I never blamed him. It was always, what are they doing with this guy? That was always my complaint. It was like, what are they doing with this guy? They've got this gem of a human, this gem of an in-ring worker, and they can't seem to make me care about it. Okay? And so something had to happen. And I know a lot of people's easy way out on all these things is, just turn him heel. It wasn't that simple. I don't think a simple heel turn from Roman Reigns was going to cut it. It needed to be something spectacular. And while a heel turn is what we got, it was different because you can almost justify Roman's heel turn. You know what I mean? Because people treated him like shit from 2016 to the end of 2018 into 2019. And all of a sudden he comes back and his motivation is, you guys don't like me? Well, fuck you. I'm going to do this my way.
And let's keep it real too. Also, DJ, look at the guy, gorgeous wife, good-looking dude. He has a right to be arrogant. Play into that.
Okay.
This whole babyface John Cena good guy. Yeah, that whole John Cena babyface good guy. That's not who he is.
Yeah, it's like this is what I am. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to be. And he totally made it work. And while yes, the tactics were heelish, and the cheating and the everything that barely slipping away by the skin of his teeth. The motivations are legitimate.
So
it's relatable.
I feel like he comes back as a tweener, not as a full-fledged heel.
They teased that in the match. If you pay attention to when Solo comes out and Solo attacked Cody Rhodes, he starts yelling at Roman. He's like, get over there and finish him. Get over there and finish him. And Roman's like, I know. Would you get off my ass?
Yeah,
I know what I'm supposed to be doing here. So he got a little frustrated with Solo. It would not shock me at all because for him to come back and immediately go right back after Cody, I think kind of cheapens what we just got.
Yeah.
So I think there's a different path for Roman. I think, obviously getting back this, whatever they're calling this championship now, I think they pulled Universal out of it. So now it's just the whatever championship. But
wait, Universal announced it's undisputed? Or was it the other way around?
Rob, didn't they rebrand it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I must have misunderstood that.
But didn't Cody also redid that again too, also, and call something else after it?
He said he wants to. He wants to change the name and he wants to go back to the Winged Eagle belt. He said he wants to do that.
Winged Eagle?
But he said that's what he wants to do.
A version of it, yeah.
I will fucking faint if that happens.
But right now,
I like that idea, but they just came out with this belt not 18 months ago. We're not going to rebrand it.
That also, I mean, that kind of undercuts the whole new era thing if you're going back to, I mean,
hey, what's old new again, buddy?
Well then, this is not new era then, which it's not. I mean, it's a marketing thing and all of that. It's not new era. Okay, I mean they're doing something differently, yes, but I mean calling it new era is basically a way of saying The old man's not here anymore, right? And again, the old man hasn't fully been there for 2 years anyway. But they're being heavy-handed with New Era because they are trying to publicly distance themselves.
Wash their hands.
Not just publicly. There's a report came out yesterday that TKO is looking to buy out all of his shares.
Oh, yeah. But that's
saw that.
part of that. Again, that's part of, but that's publicly splitting with him. I mean, like if there was no controversy, if he just decided, okay, I'm retiring right up to the sunset, they wouldn't be trying to buy all these shares. I mean, you got it. But
and Vince McMahon was never retiring. I'll die on the hill that man's plan was to die in Gorilla.
Say what you want about Vince McMahon. That guy, there's no one who's better work ethic than that guy.
Yeah,
without question.
But just it's but we never were gonna the type of heel turn that the IWC wanted him was asking for from him was not the tribal chief.
Right.
No.
They just wanted him to turn heel because
they wanted a reason to boo him.
Right.
Right. That was all. And I'm sorry, just to me, the idea that he's just a good looking guy, he should be a heel. I mean, I grew up with Magnum TA, all right. I mean, and they very loudly played up that Magnum TA was a good looking guy, and he was a babyface of all babyfaces.
Yeah.
Okay. Simply being a good looking guy does not make you a heel. Or well, to me,
but I think the cockiness part was saying, being arrogant and cocky,
feeling
yourself.
But
you see it in Tito now.
I mean, okay, plenty of baby faces were not necessarily humble people. I mean, Hulk Hogan was not humble.
Hogan in hindsight, you watch Hogan now, you watch his 80s run, Hulkamania, a lot of heel of shit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And it's more than you realize.
He'd rake people in the eyes. He would hit him with chairs but
it's just aggressive, pal.
Yeah, and
but it's more aggressive than you thought, though. Back then, even we knew it was like, oh well, no big deal. It's one thing. No, it's more than you realize.
But Jerry Lawler was the big baby face in Memphis, and he did. I mean, he used foreign objects, and he threw fire in people's faces, and he did all types of stuff. But it was, it was righteous indignation, right?
Right.
It was towards people who deserved it, right? I mean, because I'm sorry, to me, look again, the people hating Roman, they were all a bunch of losers.
Yeah, and they look worse now.
It's loser talk. It's like, oh, this guy's good looking. This guy's a great athlete. Boo! All right. I mean, and it's loser talk. And
wrestling fans are weird, Rob. I see you on.
But they weren't always like that.
Well,
the internet has ruined wrestling.
The internet has ruined that, brother.
It really has.
Again, we remember, Hulk Hogan, and nobody, it took a long time before people got really actually tired of Hulk Hogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this idea that, well, I can't root for you because I found out that the company's behind you, right?
Wrestling fans are annoying. I swear. I read like a lot of Rob's like Twitter feed is the best. It's him trolling the trolls, and calling
it's hilarious.
I was telling Jim today on text, Big Jim on 3CT. I was telling him today, like, Rob might be the most sensible and yet most intelligent like wrestling fan I know, because he'll troll somebody on there, break it down, then call him a moron and leave.
Because I'm sorry again, if you tell me, well, this guy's good looking and he's a great athlete and he has a great physique, so I'm not going to cheer for him because I heard that the boss likes him. Really?
It's so dumb. It really is dumb, though, to be honest.
Look, okay, and look, anybody who's in a high position on the card was chosen by the office. They weren't chosen by you. You didn't pick them.
Yep.
The other thing that a lot of these folks don't like pay attention to is there are markers and identifiers that WWE uses to determine who they're going to like. If in 2015, 2016, Roman Reigns wasn't selling merch, if he wasn't putting asses in the seats, Vince wouldn't even have looked at him. He probably would have looked at him and said, yeah, I could do something with that guy, but the fans aren't into him. And at the time, the fans were, before the Punk Colt Cabana podcast, the fans were getting behind Roman Reigns. Like, the groundswell was there, the merch sales were there, the ticket sales were there, and then the podcast happened. And that's where we really got this sense of,
I heard about that podcast. What exactly did that podcast to do with Roman, though?
Well,
because
Punk,
he basically called out and said that, Vince chose Roman.
And he said Punk said point blank that they told me to make Roman look strong.
Yeah, make Roman look strong. And that's where the IWC got that notion of make everybody look strong.
Right. Because
they ran with it.
Because Punk was their patron saint.
Speaking of CM Punk, he better be the heel in this fucking feud of Drew. He better be the heel. He better be. Because I get this whole Drew heel thing is pretty cool. But I'm not feeling CM Punk babyface bullshit. I'm not with it. He's an asshole.
The problem is
an asshole.
Too many people like it. He is, but too many people like it, and I think they're going to run with it.
Yeah.
With him as a babyface?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they're going to run with it, brother.
Like the only time there was any, when he and Cody were the last two in the Rumble, you saw, then you heard some people kind of rumbling during that match. But that was it. And unless he's working with somebody like Cody, then yeah, I mean, but on this podcast, he said that they told him to make Roman look strong, and which basically implies that Roman wasn't very good at his job and he needed somebody to make him look good.
Right.
And at that point, that was not the case. But Punk and I'm not even saying that was. I mean, that didn't single-handedly do it, but
no, but
that was a big
basically started what became this rhetoric of Roman doesn't do his job very well.
Yeah, and
he needs people to carry him through his matches, which, maybe in 2014, you can get away with that, but by 2016, 2017, Roman Reigns was fully carrying himself in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, in the early Shield matches, it was pretty obvious that that Seth and Dean were kind of covering his spots for him, or at least they were
protecting him.
He didn't have, like in 2012, 2013 Shield matches. But I'd say by the end of 2013, or after 2014, by 2014, he was his own guy as far as the ring work. But it's just that gave a green light to because there were some people. It will give a green light to people who to basically do what they wanted to do because Roman, yes, because when the Shield was in there, like Roman, when they debuted, Roman was the worst of the three as far as ring work, but everybody knew, everybody looked at him and knew like, okay, that's the guy they're going to try to push, right? So there were people waiting for just to be given a reason to shit on him.
Roman is not a great in-ring tactician, but the reason I love watching his matches, especially today, he tells a great story in ring. He reminds me of Hogan a lot.
Well, I disagree with that because
what do you mean?
Go watch his matches from 2016, 2017. He does he can do 100 different moves in a match if he wants.
Oh no, he's better now than he was in 2016, 2017. I'm saying that you wouldn't call him who's a better in-ring worker, him or Seth? I put Seth over him as a natural in-ring worker, but Roman does a little things right though.
Depends on what you're looking for. I mean,
true. To your point, yes.
Because Seth falls into that indie-rific shit.
Of course.
Although
we'll say he's lost a step though. Definitely, you can definitely tell, Seth.
But
yeah, the problem with the better in-ring worker really comes down to personal preference.
Correct.
Because if you asked me personal preference wise who I think the better in-ring wrestler is, I'll tell you Seth Rollins. However, when I think about the stuff Seth Rollins does, and I made this point to Rob in a group chat that we're in, I would go back and watch WrestleMania Night 2's main event a dozen times again before I would watch one match with Will Ospreay where he tries to figure out 35 different ways to hit a tornado.
I'm the
DDT.
same way. I'm the same. And to your point too, also like Roman for me, that's my style because Roman, snaps at an old school guy.
Yeah,
and Roman would fit perfectly in this era we're watching now.
Yeah,
because
Roman Reigns
he does little things well. The little
freaking
things.
ruled the roost in 1989.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I love nuance. I'm a big fan of nuance in the ring, and he's the king of it.
Yeah. His match this week against Cody too, especially. I loved all the shit talking he was doing. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Yeah,
he was super cocky.
Yeah,
out of 10.
And see, I like stuff like that. And
me too.
But
a lot of Hollywood Hogan in him too. A lot of Hollywood Hogan in him in this run.
I think there's a lot of Ric Flair in him too.
That too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the pacing of matches.
Tell he's watched tape. He sat. He studied tape. He studied some of the best.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people were complaining about the way he works, but he worked like a heel. Like you're not supposed to do all the high flying, exciting stuff. You're supposed to cut people off. You're supposed to bail out. You're supposed to talk trash. You're supposed to, do sneaky, underhanded shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to have interference, right? I mean, you're the heel, right? And people, they complain about it, but look, I mean, that man had y'all thinking Sami Zayn should have won the title off of him in February.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's some heel work. If you can have people believing, like, the title never changes hands in February with WrestleMania right around the corner.
Exactly.
That almost never happens. And yet, I mean, there were some true believers for Sami Zayn last year to win the title in February. Like when the match with Cody was right around the corner at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's good heel work, right? I mean,
Bobby Heenan was an asshole.
He really was.
Yeah. And it's like here, right? I mean, like you see him,
his face.
Yeah.
He's such a great worker too, though. Look at him.
And
Bobby Heenan was an incredible worker.
Yeah.
And when it was time with Bobby, when it was time to get the crowd behind one of his people who was turning, Bobby always did great. And when Ken Patera came back and they had that little thing.
Yeah, 87. Correct.
And he just started yelling. I was like, started calling him convict and all other type of shit.
Mm-hmm. People don't understand why I have him over Heenan. Over Heyman. It's not because Heyman's not great. Heyman's amazing. But Bobby Heenan got over guys that had no business even being on a mid card, making it relevant. Red Rooster.
Right here, they made me believe they may do something with Terry Taylor.
Yes.
Right.
This moment, I was like, holy shit, this guy could be Intercontinental Champion in 6 months to a year. This is what I'm believing in, January of 1989. Because of Bobby Heenan.
Yep. And that's why he's the greatest of all time. Like a guy like Hercules, who's not a great worker in the ring, but Hercules had a little bit of, he mattered a little while.
Yeah.
He elevated a lot of guys that had no business. And the big one for me is this, for Bobby Heenan, is this. No one would have believed Andre Giant would have been a heel.
Oh, yeah.
If you know Andre Giant's history, no one's going to believe that shit. Be putting Bobby Heenan, though.
Yeah.
Now we got something. Now we're cooking.
Because my top two, usually if you ask me, I always say Heenan and Cornette. Because Cornette just getting people to legit hate him. Like when he did the thing with Baby Doll, and he I don't know, did you seen that, Ernest?
What's that?
The Cornette stuff with Baby Doll.
I've heard about it.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you a link to the YouTube video.
Okay. I've heard about it, definitely.
He jammed his tennis racket handle in the Baby Doll's stomach.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And brother, he was wearing Kevlar to the arena. Okay, like they wanted to get his ass. Okay.
Yeah, he had legit heat, man.
Yeah. And he threw a fireball in Ronnie Garvin's face and burned, and that turned, and he said he was willing to get on the mic and say just the most vile, just really just line stepping, disgusting things, and and he was willing to to get the heat, and he was willing to have people hate him that much.
By the way, this is Mr. Perfect's one of his earliest matches. Like he got there late '88, so it's like probably one of his first few matches.
Pre-singlet.
Yeah. He'll get that singlet within the next couple months. This he was so talented though, Mr. Perfect. This dude would elevate immediately into the mid card. By the end of this year, he's feeling Hogan.
And Kurt, he's another one because he first turned heel when he was still in the AWA.
Okay.
And that was one of those things where nobody saw it coming because he was pretty much a white meat baby face. And he turned heel, and then he became like this just asshole heel world champion.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe it was actually babyface. But even in WWE, after a couple of years, he was a babyface in '93.
Oh yeah, because like him and Scott Hall, they were like this super babyface tag team in the AWA.
Yeah.
And and so but then he turned heel, and he did a really great job of it as AWA world champion. And then after he lost the AWA world titles when he came to WWF.
Great worker too. These two guys, even Coco, great worker too.
Yeah,
Coco was a hell of a worker.
Mm-hmm.
That goes unsaid a whole lot, and it shouldn't.
Yeah,
because he was treated more like a jobber in a sense. He was a star, but he was a job.
He was a comedy act.
Yeah.
He's a great worker though. He'll get on manias. He'll put on good matches and lose.
Well, you go back and watch some of his non-WWE stuff. The dude could go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. No, but yeah, I Perfect like he because I only knew him as a heel for most of the year. So when I remember when he turned face in '93, I was like, this is weird. People like you now. It was weird for me because
that was
the whole aura of Perfect,
further with Hogan and Orndorff. Like at one point, Orndorff and Hogan are trying to kill each other. Like it's a blood feud, and then a month later, they're tagging together on some random show. I'm like, when did Orndorff become a good guy?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's healed again a few years later.
WWE was right in the middle of the Hogan Orndorff feud. So
was Orndorff
my
still face or heel?
Huh?
Was Orndorff a face at the time or a heel?
Orndorff was a heel. That was my introduction to WWE. Was the feud between Hogan and Orndorff, and Orndorff was a heel.
Was it the first Hogan Orndorff heel run or the second one? Because there were two.
I think it may have been the first one.
Because there was a pre-WrestleMania 1 Orndorff Hogan feud, and then it was the one after WrestleMania 2.
I think it may have been WrestleMania because I dropped in same time Rob did with Mr. T.
Okay, the first one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I love the second one. The second one's awesome because that's the one with the cage match inside the main event in '87.
Yeah.
We both fall at the same time, and Danny Davis comes out and says, "No, he's the winner." No, he's the winner.
If you want to watch, I'll have to look it up, and after I look it up, I'll tell you where it's at and see if you can find it on the Peacock. There's a Hogan Orndorff match from. It may have been like WrestleFest or so. It wasn't a WrestleMania or anything like that.
Is it '86?
It may have been '86.
Outdoors.
Yes.
It's the big event. It's the big event.
Shit out of each other.
That's the big event from '86, August '86, in front of like 70,000 people.
Yes, him and Orndorff beat the bag out of each other, man, and it was great because you think of Hulk Hogan and how his matches went. He didn't get that with Orndorff. Orndorff's like, "You're not Hulk Hogan. You're Terry from Tampa, and I'm going to whoop that ass, and you're going to have to work for it." And Orndorff made him work for it. It was a really good match. Like it's a good stiff Hogan match.
Mm-hmm. Orndorff led into the Hogan Andre feud.
Yeah.
Literally, like the month after the feud ended, there was Hogan Andre. And there's the Mega Powers.
But
Savage is insane.
Talk about a guy who really did everything he could to stand out and make people notice him. Savage may have been the best during this time. I mean, the Warrior was what he was, but the Warrior's look stood out. Savage did all the other shit
Yeah.
that made him stand out here.
I'll say it again. He might be the only wrestler that I know of in the history of the business that when you do a checklist of what do you look at a superstar, look, charisma, in ring, he checks every single box at a high level.
Yeah.
What does he not do well? Commentate. That's it. He's not a great commentator, but that's about it.
Well,
other than that,
you put Hogan out on commentary, he probably wouldn't have done any better.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a great in-ring worker, great great on on the mic, character, the look, reinvents himself all the time, no matter what it is. Savage did everything at a high level. That's why I would not put him number 3 on that list. I can understand why he was that high. I can totally understand why he's that high.
Yeah.
And he has like this. He's one of the best big match wrestlers in the history of the company, or any wrestling company for that matter. You got Steamboat. You got the DiBiase match from 4. You got him and Hogan at 5. Him and Warrior at 7. Him and Flair at 8. I just watched today actually.
And then then later on he had the matches with Diamond Dallas Page and WCW.
That one's great too. Yeah, absolutely. That's phenomenal. So yeah, I understand why him at 3. I totally understand it. But yeah, you can see dissension. Like you see Jesse's talking about. You don't hear the comments right now, but Jesse's talking about like, I smell a rat.
Yeah,
I smell a rat. Jesse in 88, 89, especially around 88, 89, was at his absolute apex as a commentator.
Yes.
And look, Jesse and Gorilla again. They're for me. They're my favorite commentators.
Period. Even Vince is Jesse pretty good though. Even Jesse and Vince are pretty good too. But Jesse and Gorilla by far.
Jesse and Vince had good chemistry because Jesse would give it to Vince. Like every now and then he'd throw some little jabs in there. And
yeah, absolutely. All right, and there's the end of the telecast. I mean, we really didn't. I mean, we watched the matches, but we really didn't watch the matches. Like we had a Warrior Honky match in there that we was talking over because talking about WrestleMania 40.
Right.
I'll also ask anyway. Do you have any takeaways from this telecast? Any takeaways?
The head shaving. Yes, I enjoy the head shaving because that's how you're supposed to cut somebody's hair.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
If you're doing a hair versus hair match, you're doing some type of hair cutting angle, you're supposed to cut all of the person's hair off. Okay. And you're not supposed to cut off a few locks. And you're supposed to shave them bald. And they need to walk around bald for a few weeks or a month or something. Okay. That's how you're supposed to shave. That's how
correct.
If you're not going to do if you're not willing to commit to getting your head shaved, don't do the angle.
That's right. I think to his credit, he may have wanted it shaved anyway. So there's, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was looking pretty ratty. He's a little bald.
Yeah, but if you're not going to commit to getting your head shaved, then
don't commit.
Then don't do the angle.
Right.
Because otherwise, it's a joke. It's a joke to cut a few pieces of hair off and then nothing else.
The only thing for me is really just the continued dissension to Mega Powers. That's all it is. Other than that, it's pretty much a standard main event.
Yeah, it was a house show on TV, which was perfectly
pretty
fine.
Much. Yeah.
Because I would like to have seen a little bit more of Tito Santana and Terry Taylor because they were cooking.
Yes,
yeah.
They were having a good match up until, but I understand where they were going with it with the angle at the end. But I would like to have seen 3, maybe 4 more minutes of those two.
Yeah. Tito, we discussed on the podcast last week about on my podcast with the top 50 rankings. Maybe better than Vader.
Egregious
omission from that list.
Yeah.
Right. Tito Santana was.
And Tito just had this year. He would have these matches just out of nowhere, like on TV, and if you sit down and watch them, they were just really good.
Yeah.
People.
Absolutely.
Very, very underrated, underappreciated worker, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was a big Tito mark.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Fellas, great job as always. You want to plug? Who wants to go first?
I'll plug it this time.
Okay.
You can listen to me, Rob, and Jason on the Mindless Wrestling podcast to be found on thechairshot.com. You can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Mindless Pod.
And Rob?
Again, you can find me with DJ and Jason every week, and you can every couple of weeks you can find me on my own podcast, the Rob Genius Podcast, and you can find me on Twitter at RBONNE1. And
Cussing folks out and trolling.
At least once a day, you'll see me call somebody an idiot.
Once a day? I'm seeing more and multiple now.
At least once a day.
At least once a day. We're getting the quota of 1, but lately I've been seeing 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because look, I'm a firm believer that you should call stupid people stupid. Okay.
If the shoe fits.
If you're on the team, wear the jersey. Okay. That's simple.
If the shoe wits, fear it. Anyway, good job, guys. As always, awesome job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.